Leaders in every field climb to their perch by taking calculated risks, and collectors witnessed this concept firsthand when 1990 Upper Deck baseball cards hit the store shelves that spring. The year before, Upper Deck had immediately established itself as a distinctive force in the baseball card business, not only for their revolutionary yet classic card design, but also for the audacity of making a rookie the very first card in their very first set. Sure, pegging Ken Griffey Jr. as the poster child for Upper Deck looks like a stroke of genius nearly 3 decades later, but the truth is that it was a gamble that paid off. So how would Upper Deck leverage that bit of luck as it planned out the prime slot in its sophomore issue? While Topps led off their 1990 offering with a string of Nolan Ryan cards and Donruss treated collectors to a Bo Jackson Diamond Kings pasteboard, Upper Deck again went their own way. After all, it takes the swagger of a leader, a champion, to start off your base set, your only set that really mattered at all at the time, with a checklist. And coming into the 1990 collecting season, Upper Deck clearly was the champion of the card makers, excepting perhaps the hue and cry of a few traditionalists who couldn't stomach paying more than 40 cents for a pack of baseball cards. Just as surely, card number one in Upper Deck's sophomore effort was nothing but a bunch of text and a gaudy drawing, the Star Rookie Checklist. Boring or classic? Upper Deck was willing to forego making card number one a centerpiece of their set for 3 reasons. Number one, they were king of the hill. Number two, their number one could at least bank on a cachet of rookie. And number three, they were backed by an award-winning design. In fact, at first glance, and especially if you didn't live through the boom years, you might have trouble distinguishing the 1990 Upper Deck cards from the 1989 Upper Deck cards, and from the 1991 Upper Deck cards for that matter. As in the previous year, Upper Deck's 1990 issue was focused on presenting bright, crisp photos of players we love to watch in a mix of posed and action shots. Aside from the huge photo that covers more than 80% of the valuable real estate, card fronts feature very little in the way of design. On the left-hand side of the lower white border, the player's name appears in small black letters, with the team logo just above in the lower left-hand corner of the photo itself. Whereas the right-hand border of the 1989 set showed a first base line capped by, well, first base, 1990 cards feature only a clean white strip to the right. Instead, the Upper Deck logo picks up the action in the upper right-hand corner, and a baseline extends along the upper border to the left, terminating in a small second base, inside of which is the player's position in black letters. Of course, the design of Upper Deck baseball cards does not stop on the front. When you turn one over, you're treated to a color and techno explosion that dwarf the card fronts of most sets made to that point. In the top left-hand corner of the vertical layout is the card number in black type, with a fabled Upper Deck hologram to its right. Collectors were skeptical about the supposed anti-counterfeiting device during Upper Deck's first few years, but we quickly became accustomed to such wizardry. And it's a milestone on the path towards the super premium brands that were to follow. Beneath these two, which stake out to the left-hand third of the card, are the MLB and the MLBPA logos. Rounding out the panel is a block containing the player's name and team name, along with his position and vital stats, and a table with up to 5 years of statistics plus career totals. The right hand 2/3 of each card is devoted to another crisp, beautiful, full-color image of the player. The Upper Deck card back seemed to be a direct throat punch aimed at Topps, who never, well, almost never, see 1971, included photos on their card backs, and who always took grief for their dingy brown cardstock. The blazing white borders on the fronts and backs of Upper Deck cards were almost blinding by comparison. Greenhorns and Greats. Of course, no set could get by on its design alone, especially during the end cap years of the 1980s and 1990s, when the rookie card blaze was still burning out of control. And while the 1990 Upper Deck set never could boast of a surefire legend on the order of Junior Griffey, it did fine in the realm of first-year standouts. Among the rookie cards from the 1990 Upper Deck set that still draw interest decades later are Sammy Sosa number 17, Juan Gonzalez number 72, John Olerud number 56, and Larry Walker number 466. Beyond this quartet, though, several other players who made the Upper Deck debut in 1990 have caused their own ripples in the market, including Marcus Grisham, number 9, Eric Anthony, 28, Bob Hamlin, 45, Jose Offerman, 46, Ben McDonald, 54, Kevin Moss, 70, and Dean Palmer, 74. Those lower number cards were tagged with the star rookie designation, as was Deion Sanders, number 13, even though that pasteboard is not a true rookie. Even in 1990, there were plenty of hobbyists who were more interested in particular star players than in rookies, and Upper Deck had significant room to showcase the game's best among their 700 card base set, ranging from Jose Canseco, number 66, to Kevin Mitchell, number 117, and Oral Hershiser, 266, to Dennis Eckersley, 513. Upper Deck had every big name you could ask for. Beyond normal cards for each star, however, Upper Deck also offered paintings of one player from each team on the front of club checklist cards, ranging from ho-hum choices like Steve Sax for the New York Yankees, number 18, to Hall of Famers like Robin Yount for the Milwaukee Brewers, number 91. And even though Julio Franco somehow pulled the checklist rug out from under Nolan Ryan for the Texas Rangers, number 82, Upper Deck still saw fit to include two different cards for the Express, a 5000K card at number 34 and a Ryan base card at number 544. Get UD high. If all that nearly full-blood magic weren't enough Upper Deck goodness for you, all you had to do was wait until late in the season. That's when Upper Deck jumped into the update set foray with a concept they called high number series. Of course, issuing cards in series was not a new idea to veteran collectors, but it was considered dated in 1990, ever since Topps had ditched multiple series in favor of one big issue per year in 1974. We had come to view the former as a quaint practice of the past. Never mind that Topps themselves continued to issue cards in stages throughout most of the intervening years in the form of their own traded series. But Upper Deck took a different tack to update sets than Topps or Fleer ever had. Rather than issuing the cards as a dedicated box set or putting them in their own Mylar packed boxes, UD slid high numbers in with cards from the lower 700 and wrapped them 15 cards to a pack and 36 to a box, same as always. As you might expect from a late issue, the 1990 Upper Deck high numbers were loaded with players who had changed teams and rookies who had made an impact but whom Upper Deck had missed the first time around. Among the notable veterans making a high number appearance were Willie Randolph 704, John Franco 709, Jeff Reardon 729, Dave Winfield 745, Dave Parker 766, and Cecil Fielder 786. New rookie cards in the upper 100 included David Justice, number 711, Carlos Baerga, 737, Delino DeShields, 746, and David Suggy, 773. Upper Deck also treated collectors to an updated Nolan Ryan card, number 734, as the Ryan Express did indeed join a new club, the 300 Win Club, on July 31st, 1990. Hero and Harbinger. Even though Upper Deck had forged their initial success, at least partially on the shoulders of a young man who had yet become a superstar, Griffey, they weren't content to build on just current players in 1990. Perhaps inspired by Ryan, the Ageless Wonder, Upper Deck set out to make a recently retired legend one of the centerpieces of their marketing strategy. Specifically, they produced a 10-card set of baseball heroes that featured 8 different milestones in the career of Reggie Jackson, plus a checklist. Plus, an artwork topper card showing Reggie with 3 teams, A's, Yankees, Angels, along with a Baltimore Orioles hat. These cards were inserted in high-number packs, and the entire operation was dubbed Find the Reggie. As an added incentive, Jackson signed and numbered 2,500 of those topper cards, effectively giving birth to the modern chase card. Certainly the chance of pulling a Reggie autograph was more compelling than the promise of a minimum of one 3D team logo hologram, as their Mylar wrappers proclaimed. And since it was Mr. October, the nostalgia factor was steep enough to draw even veteran collectors who naturally preferred the pink death of gum offered by Topps packs. Still today, and although 2,500 is not a small print run, the autographed Reggie Topper card sells for more than $100 in ungraded condition. And despite the continued wide availability of 1990 Upper Deck packs, the chance to win a Reggie is enough to entice the occasional impulse purchase. Variety is the spice of cardboard. If you followed along thus far, then you know that the 1990 Upper Deck set featured 700 base cards, 100 high number cards, 10 Reggie cards, 1 Reggie Jackson autograph card, and 26 team logo cards in 3D. But if you're the sort who has to have everything or nothing at all, then the 1990 set might prove more challenging than it first appears. To begin, there are a handful of interesting misspellings in the first 100 or so cards, including such doozies as surprising news about Mike Schmidt's retirement, number 20, and the ever-popular definitely, number 42, which has definitely tripped up more than a few inattentive wordsmiths over the years. These would never be corrected, however, so they won't do much for you except for maybe make you feel better about your own shortcomings. There are, on the other hand, several variations which make building a master set quite an endeavor. Some of the more obvious of these include Ben McDonald, number 54, can be found with either the Orioles or Star rookie logo on front. Mickey Tettleton, checklist card number 60, lists 683 as either Jamie Weston, error, or Mickey Weston, correct. Andy McGaffigan's number 597 card shows either McGaffigan or Rich Thomas. Ditto for number 89, which shows either Rick Reed, error, or Jim Gott, correct. Nolan Ryan's number 734 can be found with and without the 300th win stripe. Then starting at number 101, Gerald Perry, the wheels fell off Upper Deck's printing press. From there through number 199, Al Newman, every card exists either with or without the copyright date on the back of the card. A minor variation? Sure, you bet. But if you want to collect every possible variant of 1990 Upper Deck, you have to get all those babies too. If that's where you find yourself and you want to see every known error and variation in gory black and white detail, and usually in photos, check out the trading card database, as they've done a typical bang-up job of cataloging all the error and variation love. For our purposes, just know that the master set of 1990 Upper Deck Baseball will come in somewhere north of 950 cards when you add in the base set, the high series, the Reggies, the 3D team logos, and the goodies in this section. That's a lot of cards. Who has that kind of money? Considering that we're talking about nearly 1,000 of the finest, most technologically advanced baseball cards that 1990 had to offer, it must cost an arm and a leg to collect second-year Upper Deck cards, right? Not unless you're in the habit of giving away your limbs for free. Even a second-year Ken Griffey Jr. card in the highest grade condition, PSA 10, checks in around $100, and graded specimen of other cards from that set just go down from there. You can find low number unopened boxes for about $5 to $10, and the high number series runs about the same despite the chance of pulling a signed Reggie. And if you paid more than $10 or so for a complete factory set anytime this decade, you might have been had. You can also occasionally find complete runs of the no copyright cards for a reasonable sum, and that includes Griffey and Craig Biggio. So are the cards worthless? Only if you don't have a memory or imagination, or let them tug you into the sunlit outfields of 1989 before we knew what PEDs or Florida Marlins were. For the rest of us, 1990 Upper Deck baseball cards are an affordable and gorgeous reminder of simpler times when the hobby and the game held us spellbound all summer long. Like our video? Then like our videos and subscribe to our channel. waxpackgods.com